Being quite young, it sometimes surprises me how advanced all technology can be and how visualized it can be. For example, vacuum tubes. They are basically the predecessor of the transistor and they really glow in the dark so you can see what happens. Quite cool. So I bought an old radio from 1958 actually and I tried to fix it up. Of course, being that old, there is some experience and that means that, yeah, there are some damages. So I wanted to fix that up. So what I first did was completely sanding down the cabinet, removing all the old paint and add new yacht varnish. And yacht varnish is quite complex to put it nicely, so you have to do a lot of layers, sand in between, new layer, polish, etc. But the end result is quite good. I'm actually quite satisfied with it. After that it was time for the electrical part. And what I then always do is downloading the service documentation. And I have to say, in those eras, radios were really service friendly. So I removed the chassis and I tried and did some measurements. Of course, a few broken resistors, but more important, the coupling capacitor was broken. That's here C44. And that can cause quite some damage to your end pentode, in this case the EL84, because it runs for that hot. Another problem are decoupling capacitors. Also those are quite often broken and in this case it can cause your output transformer to break. In this schematic it's C48. Also that one has been replaced. The problem with old radios is that they also used, of course, old capacitors. Philips used torque capacitors, and those capacitors are quite hygroscopic. So they tend to withhold some water, and that means that the value changes or sometimes they have a leakage. Those things you want to prevent. So it was time to put the radio chassis back in, and I have to say I really enjoy this radio.